"Uncle," the black beggar child told the wealthy, "I know how to make your daughter walk again." Gregory Vale had passed that alley 100 times, but never in this manner, never with his polished shoes clattering on a pair of tiny wheels, and never with a stillness so dense it could choke him. Naomi, his 8-year-old daughter, was draped in a knit blue blanket and sat calmly in her wheelchair, her legs motionless. As if she had given up on miracles, her eyes were lowered to the sidewalk, and her golden hair flowed over her cheeks. Gregory hadn't. Not really, but in his world, the word hope had turned into a nasty one. Every physician, therapist, and miracle worker since the accident 2 years ago had taken his money and given him the same response: irreversible spinal injury. They would remark softly that they might live a long life, but she will never be able to walk again. Nerves could not move mountains, but his money could. He heard the voice at that moment. From the alley corner, the child said, "Uncle, I know how to get your daughter to walk again." With one hand still on Naomi's wheelchair handle, Gregory came to a halt. He gently turned, expecting to find a scammer or worse, but instead he saw a toddler who was barefoot. Naomi could not have been older than the boy. He was tiny, dark-skinned, barefoot, and wrapped in a big coat. Although one eye was somewhat damaged and his hands were covered in mud, his voice remained firm. "What were you saying?" Gregory inquired. The boy reiterated what I had said. "I can help your daughter," Gregory scowled. "Is this a game of any sort? Who did this to you?" "No one," responded. The boy, "Eli is my name. Behind the train station is where I live. Yesterday, I witnessed you forcing her here. I knew you would arrive, so I waited here today." Gregory narrowed his eyes. "Have you been observing us?" Not in a spooky way, though. She appeared dejected, as though she used to run, but her legs had forgotten. I could see several people passing by. The head of Naomi cocked slightly. Since last week, no one had spoken about her more than that. Gregory firmly asserted, "I've taken her to the best hospitals in the world, surgeons, neurologists, even holistic charlatans who say they can move energy with their fingers. You are powerless to do anything," Eli remarked. "But you haven't taken her to my grandmother. When no one else would, she came to my aid. You're 8 years old. Next month I'll be 9. Gregory nearly burst out laughing. Eli moved in closer. "She simply accepts trust rather than money, and she never begs for belief, just an attempt." Naomi raised her gaze to her dad. "Can we leave, please?" Gregory paused, his mind whirled with the words no and absolutely not. However, so did Naomi's voice, which had cracked as she murmured, "I hate being this way." 2 weeks prior, he was kneeling beside her. "We depart if anything doesn't feel right. You understand?" She gave a nod. Eli turned and walked with a smile. They trailed behind. It was a new route behind the city. Graffiti on damaged brick walls, tangles of weeds and rusty fences. Every time her wheelchair bumped, Naomi flinched. Gregory nearly made 2 U-turns. Eli, however, continued to look over his shoulder and reassured with a composure that belied his age. They arrived at the edge of a path that was forested. It didn't appear to go anyplace. "Through here," Eli said. Gregory let out a sigh. "Are you aware of what will happen to my daughter?" Eli assured me she would be all right. She will be all right. A tiny hut made of moss and weathered wood stood at the trail's end. It had the appearance of something from a fairy tale. An elderly woman entered the porch. She had long silver hair that was braided with thread and small bits of bark. She had beautiful, timeless green eyes. She asked Eli, "I was wondering when you'd bring them." Eli gave a nod. She believed, but he didn't. Naomi gave a small smile. Before her, the woman knelt. "Can I touch your knees, kid?" Naomi glanced at her father, who nodded when he paused. The woman gently covered Naomi's legs with her hands. She closed her eyes and started humming a low, gentle sound like wind over trees. Naomi winced. "I sensed that," she muttered. Gregory moved forward. "What did you feel a shiver down my spine?" The woman's eyes opened. Her spine is frozen in grief, yet it is not dead. The heart has more authority over the body than the brain. Medical science does not include that. Gregory whispered. No, the woman answered. But your daughter doesn't cry every night about science. Quiet. Eli took a step ahead. Could she try standing? The woman gave Naomi a look. Only if she's willing. Naomi gave a nod. She was assisted to her feet by the woman who pushed the wheelchair back. Naomi's legs shook, panicked. Gregory moved forward, but the woman raised a hand. Naomi first moved her right foot, then her left. Even though she was shaky like a deer, she managed to stand. Gregory collapsed on the ground. Naomi, with tears in her eyes, Naomi turned to face him. I'm standing. Daddy. Gregory was out of breath, fearing that she would tumble or worse, disappear. He slithered to her feet and hugged her close. Silently, Eli stepped back, stunned. Gregory turned toward him. Who are you? Eli gave a shrug. Just a boy who thought it was possible to make someone whole again. Gregory's hand went to his pocket. I'll give you whatever amount. Decide on a price. Eli gave a headshake. Money is not necessary for me. All I wanted was someone to hear me. Naomi took 3 steps toward her father and the world she believed she had lost. When the sun broke through the clouds, Naomi stumbled forward one more time. Stunned, Gregory watched with his hands half up in the air, not sure if he should catch her or let her go. There was no denying that she was trembling and that tears were streaming down her face. She was moving. A second, a third, and suddenly she was down. Gregory pounced and softly caught her before she could fall to the ground. His voice cracked as he murmured, I've got you, I've got you. Naomi sobbed as she held on to him. Daddy, I felt my legs. I sensed them. You did, my love, he said you did. With her hands folded in front of her, as if she had seen this countless times, the elderly woman stood motionless behind them. There was no applause, no showmanship, just tranquility. Eli crouched close by, observing without celebration or a smile. Gregory knelt down to his level and turned back to face him. I must know, and he wrote, how did you find out? How did you accomplish that? Eli gazed at the soil below. I just realized. What did you remember, my grandmother? She knew people, but she wasn't a doctor. The way they break and breathe, not all pain is in the bones, she added. Silence is home to some of it. Some of it conceals itself from X-rays. Gregory gazed, unable to speak. Eli moved. I had a strange gait. I was born with a crooked foot. Children chuckled. When I was 4, my mother moved out. All I had was Grandma. She simply stated that it was time. One day, she put a touch on my foot, spoke something in a language I don't understand, and instructed me to get up. Yes, I did. I never fell again. Naomi gave him a blink. You were healed by her. Eli answered. She reminded me I wasn't broken. Gregory gave a slow nod. Now where is she? Eli's gaze dropped, disappeared a year ago. I ran instead of trying to enter the system. She was a phony. They alleged I was making it all up. They said I then began to assist others myself, but only those who genuinely believed and sought for help. He used his sleeve to wipe his nose. I don't always succeed, but occasionally I do. Gregory turned to the elderly woman. Who are you? She grinned. Just a listener. The rest is done by Eli. However, this is not the same. Most people have forgotten this aspect of humanity. Surgery wires or medicines aren't always necessary for that healing. Sometimes it only requires being there. Gregory gave Naomi a look. Now that she was up again, she was trying her balance while grasping the back of the wheelchair. Her fingers were shaking, but there was a ferocious light in her eyes. I hope, Gregory remarked to Eli, I want to bring you along. We have therapists, specialists, and physicians. I can provide you with a future and put you up. However, Eli gave a soft shake of his head. Here in the neglected nooks of the street is where I belong. The hurt resides there. People like me are needed there. Gregory paused. What happens if I wish to assist you? You did it already. You paid attention. The majority don't. He took a card out of the pocket of his coat. It was readable, despite being wrinkled and wet from the rain. Gregory said, call this number if you ever need me for anything, including food, shelter, or education. Day or night, my helper will respond. After carefully studying the card for a time, Eli folded it gently and put it into the inside lining of his coat. Naomi faced him. Will we cross paths again? Eli grinned. I'll probably be around if you ever lose your ability to believe. She smiled, staggered forward, and encircled him with her arms. It had been more than a year since anyone had given him a hug. He returned her hug while closing his eyes. A week later, Naomi stood in front of her school, with a group of children looking on in wonder as she crossed the stage, slowly and carefully, but without a wheelchair or braces. What was the tipping point, the reporters questioned. A boy who believed, I could, Naomi stated with a simple smile. Eli was sitting with a new girl who had lost her voice due to trauma in an alley 3 districts away that same morning. He didn't inquire about her background. He made no meal offer to her. He just sat next to her, humming the same song his grandma used to sing, because medicine isn't usually the first step toward healing. Sometimes it starts with someone who won't leave. For more dramatic, poignant, and surprising stories, please remember to hit the subscribe button and give this story a thumbs up if you liked it, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments section. We enjoy hearing from everyone. Stay curious, be kind, and keep observing. Till the next time.